Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Strap yourselves in for the Gaming Hub. With your hosts, Tyler.
You can't handle the truth!
Graham.
The force is strong in this way.
And Steven.
You cannot be serious!
Let's get started.
Alrighty then.
Hey everybody, and for the 100th time, welcome to the Gaming Hub. I'm your host, Tyler. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm here with our two co-hosts. Let's start with Graham. Graham, how are you today?
For the 100th time you asking me this, because you only ask me when we're here, because you don't care any other time. No, but honestly, I'm doing amazing, and I'm stoked for this weekend. And yeah, no, I'm just super stoked. I got tomorrow off, so can do some things tomorrow, and it's a great day. Weather's been good. Life is good for me right here.
Graham, you got a lot of days off, Graham. You're
I do.
Like off till next Wednesday, right? So
That's right.
Yeah, Graham's gonna be like ready to go for E3. I'm off for like the next 10 days, so I'm excited to get going for E3. Yeah, I gotta outdo you. Sorry, but
okay.
yeah, I'm excited to go for E3. And Steve, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. I don't have 5 days off or 10 days off. I only have 3 days off because I was going to originally have tomorrow off, but I volunteered to work to set up for our summer camp that we have because I want the best experience for the kids possible, and that means setting things up. So I don't have an issue with that, and it's a short day, so no problem there. So tomorrow we'll be spent a lot of time getting ready for E3, which we're super excited about, and maybe playing some games, but who knows? I mean, gaming. So immature. No, I kid. No, it's super great to be on the 100th episode, even though I wasn't here for all 100. Happy to be here.
Yeah. And like we mentioned a couple times, this is episode number 100, and that's kind of a big deal for us. We've been doing that, and the funny thing is, like, we started, episode 1 was the EA conference during E3 of 2016, Graham. You were there. You remember.
Yes, I was. Yes.
And so this marks not only 100 episodes, but also the 2-year anniversary of the show. And, you know, I just want to take a second and thank you guys for the work you put in, the time you put in, everything you do to make this better. And we've been committed for, you know, a little while now to just continue to get better and put in the time and put in the work. And it's all for the community that we have. We have an awesome community. And if you haven't joined it yet, you know, we'll tell you how you can do that. But I really encourage you to do so. I reached out to our community today, and I just kind of thanked everybody there in Facebook and Discord for the fact that, you know, we never have anybody that's like mean to anybody. We never have anybody that's like just kind of a dick, you know? That doesn't happen in our community, and that's fantastic. That is awesome. I can't say enough how much we appreciate that. We do this for you. And the fact that you're super engaged with what we do, the fact that you're all about what we do on this show, can't tell you enough how much we appreciate the effort you put into just to, you know, be part of it and ask questions and contribute to the conversation and all that stuff. So anything to add, Graham? You've been around since the very, very beginning.
Yes, I have, and it's been an awesome ride so far, and I definitely can plan on keep this ride going because this ride has been fun. And yeah, like, it just gets me informative what's coming out there, and I enjoy letting you guys know what's going on and hearing people's opinions and seeing you guys taking part in Discord and get some great conversation going, even though sometimes it's bashing me for liking something more than something else, which that's cool. I don't mind that at all. Any kind of feedback is good feedback. So no, I appreciate everyone, the people that's been there from like day one. I especially appreciate you guys, but all the new ones, great. Maybe 2 years down the road, you guys be like, well, I've been here for 200 episodes because we're on episode 300 or whatever, right? So even though we don't do that many, but my math's a little off, but we're not gonna ask Steven to confirm the math because we know how great his math is. But yeah, no, it's been a
Right.
great ride. Like I said, met some great people along the way, and yeah, so that's what I gotta say before I get all mushy, But it's good to be
don't
here.
do that,
for
Graham.
100.
Don't cry.
Yeah, cry more, Graham. Graham's crying.
So, Steve, you've been on the show for over 6 months now.
30 episodes?
Yeah.
Actually, 31, I think.
31
I started
as of
episode
today.
70.
Yeah, we started episode 70. 31 as of right now. Kind of, what's your experience so far? Talk about it a little bit.
I mean, honestly, the past 31 episodes have flown by.
They
Like,
have.
it just felt like I did episode 1, like yesterday. And, you guys may not have noticed, but you probably did. I was a little nervous on the first episode I did. I was a little stiff to start with, and now I feel like I'm pretty comfortable doing this. I hope you guys would agree. It's been a great experience. I feel like we've gotten pretty good, and after some changes that happened like early on in my time back, like we just started cranking out some great episodes and really like expanding, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Like all the communities have grown exponentially. We started doing more stuff on like YouTube and Twitch, and we've had some great opportunities to like being on Dash Radio. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the awesome interview that we have for you guys that we're so happy about. I don't think would have happened 30 episodes ago. So
No.
that's just some great stuff that's happened since you guys brought me on.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I just kind of want to kind of say one more thing on it before we move on. And I hope you'll forgive kind of the self-indulgence, everybody. But I want to thank you two again for putting in the time, because everybody, we had a conversation about 6 months ago, and we all made the commitment with each other that we were gonna be all in on this and put in the time to not only deliver great episodes and better stuff every week. And are we where we want to like totally be at the end of the day? No, but we're getting better and better every week, and we're committed to being better and better every week. And I can tell you, like, we'll take the feedback. We will communicate with anybody as long as it's like respectful and constructive, right? So we just had somebody on Twitter this week that was, basically coming from a place of like, hey, I like the show, but here's some feedback, and we took that and we communicated back and forth with that person. We're not going to hide from that. We don't do that. But over the course of the last 6 months, since we had that conversation, we made that commitment, guys, so many cool things have happened for us. And when I say us, I don't just mean the three of us. I mean everybody out there that's subscribed to the show and listening and part of this awesome community. We got picked up by Dash Radio. We got approached by them and asked to be part of what they do. They have over like 10 million active listeners on their platform, and they wanted us to be one of the flagship shows that they have as they launched a new video game station on their platform. That's amazing. The interview we have tonight, I'm really proud of. And it's somebody that I've listened to in the video game podcast world for a long time. And I think he's amazing. And we reached out and he was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll come on. That's awesome. We're going to get to that a little bit later in the show. Guys, we have other interviews coming that we're kind of in back and forth contact about that I think you're going to be really happy with. All that stuff has been possible because these guys have delivered on the commitment they've made. You and the community have been awesome about just being part of what we do. So I want to thank you truly for that. And that's the end of speech. We'll move on and get into the fun stuff. But I really want to thank you. So if you're listening for the first time and you're like, hey, cool, I want to be part of a community where everybody's kind of cool and nice to each other, please do that. We'd love to have you. And there's a few different ways you can do that. You can go on to Facebook and look up the Gaming Hub forums. Please do that. You can, Facebook. When you're there, there's a link to Discord that you can click on, and it'll take you right there to join our Discord group, which is growing pretty fast. We're pretty excited about that. You can go on to Twitter at TXH Gaming Hub. That's growing pretty fast as well. And join the conversation there. You can go on to YouTube, the Gaming Hub podcast. Follow us there. And finally, Twitch. TXH Gaming Hub on Twitch. And if you go on to Twitch and follow us there, you'll have links to absolutely everything else I just mentioned to be able to join quickly and become part of the community. We'd love for you to do that for a couple reasons. One, because we want to grow the community. We want cool people that love video games to come and talk about it without all the trolls that you sometimes deal with. So we want that. And also, it's E3 time, guys, and that's an awesome time of year. We're so excited for that.
Yes.
And we're going to do a lot of giveaways. And I tweeted out pictures. I tweeted out a picture, posted a picture on Facebook, put a picture on Discord. And I swear, like, you could feel everybody's eyes light up at this picture of, like, all the gift cards that we have to give away over the course of the next 7 days. The only way to have a chance to win one of those is to take part, join the community, take part, ask questions. We're going to do a giveaway every single episode we do for E3. Graham, how many conferences are we doing episodes for?
Oh, I believe 8.
Yeah, like all of them, right?
Yes, that is the magic number. Yes,
Yeah.
all of them.
Starting Saturday with the EA conference, we'll be doing pre-shows and post-shows for every single major console conference that takes place at E3 this year. So the pre-show will take place half hour before the show goes live. Join us on Twitch for that. That's the only place you can catch it, everybody, is on Twitch. TXH Gaming Hub on Twitch. Join us there. The only place you can catch the pre-show. We will host the conference live on our channel, so you don't have to leave. You don't have to go look elsewhere. You just stay right where you're at. As soon as that conference is over, we'll come on for the post-show, which will also be a podcast episode that you can download on iTunes, CastBox, Podcast Addict, whatever it is that you listen to. It'll be there. So that's all there for E3, and we're going to be doing a giveaway every single post-show that we do. We're also going to have some cool Twitch stuff going on throughout the week outside of the conferences, where we'll be doing some giveaways there as well. This is a cool time to be a gamer. It's like Christmas in June. It's super fun. Please come be a part of that. All right, last thing I want to mention before we go into news, because I've talked like so much, but I've had people mention, contact us and mention like, hey, I'd love to support the show and help the show grow in a way more than just like subscribing to you guys on Twitch. And we now have a way for you to do that. We're announcing that we're launching a page on Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a way to go support content creators. And there's different levels of ways that you can support. So we have levels at $2, $5, $10, and $15. Okay, and those are per month. If you feel the community is worth it, if you feel the show is worth it, you want to help us grow and get bigger, awesome. We'd love for you to go there and take part in that. If it's not something you can do right now, we love having you as part of the community. We're never gonna like favor one person over another. We love having you as part of the community. There are some rewards, however, for or potential rewards for joining Patreon. So at the $5 level, you get one entry each month into a giveaway for a full $60 game. And we'll start doing that giveaway as soon as we have 10 people that are patrons at the $5 or more level. If you join at 10, you get a free t-shirt that will send to your house. And you also get 2 entries for a full $60 game every month. And at $15, we'll get you the t-shirt, we'll get you like a mug, and you get 3 entries into that giveaway for a full $60 game. So how do you get there? It's patreon.com/gaminghub. We'd love for you to go there and take a look. And if you, like I said, feel the community's worth it, feel the show's worth it, you want to help support us and grow, please take part. We'd really, really appreciate it. And everything that you donate is going to go to making the show better. We have levels for like doing things like in-depth game reviews, all the way up to traveling to conferences to bring you guys awesome coverage of stuff, both video and audio, that you wouldn't get anywhere else.
Exclusive.
Yep. Exclusive stuff. So that's all I'm going to say on that. But if you're interested, please take part. Patreon.com/GamingHub. We'd appreciate if you take a look at that and support us if you so choose. Alright guys, I've talked like way too long, so I want to get into the news for the week. And Graham, I know you are like so excited for a new zombie game.
Yes.
So-
It's actually been on my wish list all the time. Every
Yeah?
time.
So I'm here with good news for you, because Days Gone now has a release date, and it's February 22nd, 2019.
I was hoping it's going to be tomorrow. I
It's
really
not
wanted
tomorrow.
to play it tomorrow.
It's not tomorrow, it's February 22nd,
Okay.
2019. So I'll say this, like, and I'll turn it over to you guys, but the stuff I've seen in the game, like the E3 last couple years from Sony, it's kind of sort of interesting and compelling. I'm a little zombied out, and I want to see if you guys are feeling the same way, but I'm like, I don't know, this game's coming at a time I might want a new game. So Graham, let's go to you first. Like, what's your interest level right now? What did you think of the stuff we saw in the past? And 1 to 10, what's your interest in buying this game?
Well, 110, I'm gonna have to say like 3. Because not only is it a zombie game, but it's like a zombie horde game. So they just keep coming and coming and coming. And I know that there's so much more to the game than I actually know. Like, it's probably a good story, and like, I don't really know all the elements about co-op or campaign or like specifics, right? And for it being released in February, that might be a pretty safe time for a game to be released. Like, we won't know until like E3 what other games and like potential competition that it'll have at that point. But I'm really not that excited for it. But like I said, it's probably going to be a well-developed game. It's been like, what? How long has this game been in development? A long time. So yeah, like, it's not on my list of games that I want and I'm excited for, but we'll see. It might get great reviews, and if it's getting like stellar reviews, I'll be like, well, maybe I should just give this a try, even though it's a zombie game. Like, yay, another one. But like I said, I'm curious just to see, and I'm not gonna buy it before I know how well it's received and maybe a few reviews.
Okay.
So that's how I feel towards it.
Okay, Steve, how about you?
I'm excited. I mean, I'm with you on it coming out in February, so I'll get it because there's nothing else coming out around it that we know of yet. And Sony has done a good job the last 2 years of releasing some amazing games in the early part of the year. Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, Neo, Nier, and God of War this year. Like, the first 4 games I mentioned were last year, but God of War this year. So we'll see if they hit the trifecta with Days Gone being like a 9.5 coming out. So I'm excited. I like zombies. I'm still not... Left 4 Dead kind of like won zombies for me. Like, there's just nothing that's going to ever compare to it. But there's still some good games and be centered around zombies. So yeah, I'm interested to see what we're going to see at E3. And that'll kind of convince me, I think, one way or the other. But more than likely, I'll be buying it just because I'll be wanting to buy a new game in February, and this is an option.
Steve, does the delay, the fact that this game's been delayed at least once concern you at all?
No. Sony delays everything all the time. Like, there's a lot of games that have been delayed by Sony that still come out strong.
Yeah.
Unlike Microsoft, which tends to like release games after being delayed to just release them, whereas like Sony won't release them until they're at least like decent quality. At least that's how
Yeah.
it's been recently. So no, I'm not worried. And I honestly just wonder if they delayed it because of what's coming out. Like I have a feeling. Well, yeah, I don't know if they released it because of the window that it could have been released in. I don't know.
Well, a couple things. One, I absolutely agree with you. Sony's had a lot of success in that release window that we're talking about there, like kind of that late winter into early spring window. They've had a ton of success putting games out there, and they've been good games. And this, I don't think will be any different. I'll probably end up buying it. I know I'm saying I have some zombie fatigue. I do. Graham, I'm still stuck in like season 5 of Walking Dead. I know.
Well, it might all end soon, so
And I
you
know
might
I
want
need to
time
get
catch
caught up. I know, but I used to love that show. But then I just kind of got zombied out, but let's be honest, I'm gonna buy this stupid game and play it.
Yeah.
And
Who are you kidding?
I know, but yeah, I think it'll end up being really good. It'll be strong and even a kind of okay game from Sony ends up getting like an 8 most of the time from most reviewers. So I see him doing all right.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this game was they were trying to get this game out before like June or July, and it didn't happen, which is why they pushed it back to next year. Because I think Sony has learned Spider-Man is coming out in the fall window, but Sony kind of seems to put most of their single player stuff out in the spring, and then the fall is for like the big multiplayer non-exclusive titles. That just seems to be the trend. We'll see if it continues after this E3 in like 3 days when Sony goes on Monday or 4. But that's kind of my not even conspiracy, that's just my theory about it.
Yeah.
Like I could be wrong, but
okay. So let me go to the next thing then. Speaking of delays, Crackdown 3. I'm still not convinced we're ever going to see this game. But it's now been delayed again into 2019. And Graham, I want to go to you first here. Like, what is Microsoft going to have this year? At E3?
Know.
Like, what are they going to do? They usually have an hour and a half show, and I anticipate it being no different. And last year they were like an hour and 45 to 2 hours. But what are the implications of this Crackdown 3 delay again for Microsoft this year?
Oh man, like their plate is empty. Like I'm hearing like scraping sounds, and like that's like I don't know what they got to show. That's why this is one of the more exciting conferences that I'm like excited for, because I don't know what the hell they're gonna show. Like what do they have? Like not much. Like we thought, well, they'll have Crackdown 3. How much of this will they show and all that stuff? And granted, they still might show it, but now that it's delayed, maybe you kind of want to not focus so much on this. So what are you going to turn your focus on? So I'm super curious. Like they got to have something. They're not stupid. They're not like we're just going to go out there with these two things and talk about them forever. So that's why I'm like, they got to have a bunch of stuff that nobody knows about, and nothing's really been leaked that could potentially be on the Microsoft stage that I know of anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I don't know, like, how long, do we know how long this is being delayed for, or just saying 2019?
They're just saying 2019.
See, so that's even scarier. They're not
they're not
saying,
even
like,
committing.
early.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're doing, if they just revamp the whole thing, like the reasoning behind this. But yeah, I'm hoping they have some backup plans where this is not like a big deal.
So Steve, I want to go to you here, and before, this decision wasn't made today. They've known for a little while, I think. They announced it today. And it's kind of one of those get it out of the way things, so nobody's wondering why we don't see something big for Crackdown 3 at E3. We might still see some of the game. But this decision wasn't made today. They just announced it today. So, don't you think they have to have something that we haven't thought of, or that we weren't anticipating this year, ready to blow us away?
Yes. I absolutely think the only reason they announced this was because they have stuff they're gonna show, and like a lot of stuff. Because otherwise, this is, we could be wrong, and if that's the case, Microsoft's gonna get it come Sunday, Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon. I mean, because they're early Sunday. But I think they're gonna show a lot of stuff because that's the only way they can delay this game and get away with it. And it's funny though, Tyler, me and you were wrong because I think we predicted at some point before the predictions, but we predicted that instead of Crackdown being delayed, it would be outright canceled if it ever needed a delay, and that was wrong because they delayed it and they didn't cancel it. Not saying that they're not going to cancel it, but it's not looking so hot.
I still think the cancellation could happen because it's now it's now in the ballpark of like Fable Legends and Scalebound in terms of the amount of times it's been delayed. And usually Microsoft doesn't hang on to a game that long before kind of making that decision. But
this is the last Guardian of Microsoft.
Maybe it is. Seriously. I hope not.
I don't mean.
But I really think this sets up Microsoft to have. I think they're in an all or nothing situation Sunday. The expectations are so low for them right now because nobody's anticipating Halo 6 this year. Nobody's really anticipating Gears 5 this year. We know we're going to see Forza Horizon 4. But I think they're in an all or nothing spot. I think that they could come out and show us stuff we haven't even thought of or heard of and say it's coming out this fall and blow us away. Or they could come out and show like Ori and the Will of the Wisp for like 30 minutes.
And show the whole game.
yeah, we're just gonna do a playthrough here for you for an hour and a half, and it could be a complete disaster. But I have more faith in them than this, and I want to point out, like, there have been people in our community that have actually said, like, they think they should just blow up the Xbox One at this point, blow it up, be done, and move on to the next generation. That's not going to happen, and I think, honestly, that's unfair.
Yeah, but let's say they did that. They still need games for that new generation, so where's the games coming from? Like, we're just going to have the same thing happening there. That's kind of silly in some ways.
But
the
with
games
10
are the important part. Yeah.
10 teraflops.
So
the dashboard will look stunning.
There's no doubt, though, that Sony is already owning E3 this year. Like, they've kind of put out this roadmap. They're going to make announcements each day leading up to their conference, including an announcement like hours before Microsoft takes the stage on Sunday, which I think is a little dirty, but it's good PR on their part.
Yeah.
Microsoft needs to come out big, and everybody's kind of like we kind of know what we're going to see from Bethesda. We all have our fingers crossed for this one big thing, right, from Bethesda?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, Evil Within 3.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be that. Too soon. I would love that, but too soon. We kind of know what we're going to see from EA, although there's some speculation about a potential Skate 4, which would get a lot of people excited. There are people in our community that are just really fired up about the possibility of Skate 4. Like, people in our community that have literally, like, changed their name on Twitter to, like, bring me Skate 4 or something like that. But Microsoft is the one that's kind of the unknown. What do they need to bring? Like, what would make you happy Sunday?
Games. That's games.
Yeah,
games,
but tell me which games.
JRPG.
Yeah, Steve would like a JRPG, I think that would be good for the community as a whole, like the Xbox community as a whole. But Steve, like, what other games in particular?
I would like games that you can only play on the Xbox that aren't bro shooter driving games.
Yeah,
and Jesus, if they combine Gears and Forza, I will like sell my Xbox and I'll never play on it again. I mean, the chances are zero of that happening, but seriously, like they need stuff to compete with God of War, Persona, Horizon, and I know this isn't a PlayStation title, but Zelda, Mario, stuff like that. They have nothing. Every game that's exclusive to the Xbox has been like a 7 or a 8. Actually, I can't remember the last 8 I've seen, like consensus 8 on the Xbox. That wasn't.
No, I can't either.
Well, Forza. But
Forza,
that doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, really, for a major AAA, you're probably going back to like Gears 4 at that point.
Yeah, Gears 4 and Halo 5, and
Yeah.
so they need games that are not the normal Xbox titles, and whether that happens remains to be seen. Now we do get some JRPGs coming soon. Final Fantasy VII's remake is supposedly coming to the Xbox just after it comes to PlayStation, and then Kingdom Hearts 3, and those are awesome, but none of those are exclusives.
No.
So I'm excited, but also Sunday's my favorite day of E3 this year, but I think it has more to do with the second conference than the first.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm more the first conference than the second, just because of the curiosity level. Like, what are they going to do? So let me ask you this, and we'll kind of wrap up this conversation and lead into the interview, but do you think there's a better chance that they have exclusives that we either weren't expecting this year, or like first-party exclusives that we weren't expecting or never heard of? Or do you think there's a better chance that they have some sort of exclusivity agreement with some third-party games that will take us by surprise on Sunday?
Both.
Okay.
You think both? If they do both, dude, they could blow everybody away.
I think the third party is the easiest way to go, because then, games that are already talked about or being made, then they just buy outright. Like, that's the easiest way, arguably. But I do think we see a lot of games that we weren't expecting, or revivals of games that were canceled, like Fable and Scalebound.
Mm-hmm.
I almost guarantee we see both.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me bring up something that's just very curious, and I want to see if you guys have an opinion on this. But when they were showcasing the power of the Xbox One X, they were interviewing Todd Howard, and he was talking about how this console gives them the power to make the type of game that they've always wanted to make.
Yep.
Now, is there a chance that some kind of title, maybe it's exclusivity, timed exclusivity, that Bethesda is making something to harness the power of like the One X or something like that? Because like, why would they do that if they weren't like leaning more towards that? Like, could they have like maybe like a sister like pub? I don't know. Like, is there some kind of connection there?
So
or
if you're thinking that the game that you're thinking about rhymes with Skyrim, that is not, or not Skyrim, but Elder Scrolls, that is not it. They have nothing to gain by going console exclusivity with that, especially since PlayStation has outsold Xbox One like 2.5 to 1 at this point, almost 3 to 1.
Yeah.
That is a good point, though, Grant. Maybe that Star game that they're
maybe
working on.
But here's kind of what I think, maybe on the Bethesda front, Grim, where they really talked about it. Like what you're talking about right now is the sizzle reel, where they showed off the Xbox One X in 2016, and Todd Howard was on there and said this game or this console has the power to harness, what we want to do. And the game that he mentioned in particular was Fallout 4 VR.
Yeah.
So will we see VR this year, and will Fallout 4 be a launch title for it? It could be. I don't know if that's enough.
No, that's what I was gonna say too. Like I don't know if that would be enough. That's something huge, and it's big, and but PSVR's been out for a while, and seem like they're just okay. Now we're gonna do it, but they're not. It's not gonna blow everyone away, because people who already got PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 4 Pro and the PSVR, what's gonna make them oh, I'm going to get a VR on here now because they've already committed to their VR console.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing basically VR wise that can compete is like the HTC Vive, like on your PC. So I don't see that being enough as well.
So let me ask this question. How much have we really heard about Anthem from anything on the PlayStation side lately?
Nothing, but I think they have just more of a marketing deal. I highly doubt this game's exclusive.
I do too, but
it.
that would be the type of game that would get people's attention.
Yeah, and that's just something that Microsoft need to do. So maybe the glove's got to come off and they got to like throw out money because they have the money, right? So and they need this. So they're like, well, we'll just go out and buy a bunch of stuff. So
and it's the type of game that is a direct competitor to Destiny, which has that kind of marketing exclusivity with Sony. So there's a possibility there that we could maybe see that. But anyway, all these questions, guys, are going to be answered Sunday and over the weekend.
They will.
So
no good speculate.
We're not going to speculate anymore. But what we want to do right now is bring you something that we're really excited to have done last weekend. We got a chance to talk to somebody that is part of a podcast that I've listened to for a long time. And honestly, is one of the inspirations for me to start doing a podcast myself. And, you know, so I have him, like I said, you'll hear it in the interview, like I have him to thank and blame at the same time for all this. But Parris Lilly from Gamertag Radio was kind enough to join us and gave us almost an hour of his time last weekend, guys. And we had a great time interviewing him. Like, it was great. And I know he said on his own show he felt a little bad, like he kind of dominated the mic for an hour, but nothing wrong with that, man. We had him on because we wanted to hear from him, and we wanted to hear his thoughts. So we're gonna turn over to that here in a second. But Parris Lilly joined us from Gamertag Radio to talk about kind of his like memories of E3, his experiences, how he got into podcasting, his favorite moments from E3, and what he's kind of looking forward to this year. So we're excited to bring that to you guys, and we're going to send it to that now. So everybody, we got a kind of a special treat for everybody this week. Someone that, you know, I've listened to for a long time on his show, and I've always wanted to have on ours. And I think no better way to celebrate episode 100 than to have you on as a guest. Parris Lilly, co-host of Gamertag Radio, one of my favorite gaming podcasts. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the invite, and I'm honored that you listen to Gamertag Radio and that you had me on your 100th episode. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, you know, thank you. It's really cool. I've really enjoyed listening for a long time, and I don't want to throw too much at you here, but you know, listening to your show and you're definitely one of the ones that kind of inspired me to take on this crazy hobby and stuff, and with no idea how much work actually goes into it. So I have you to thank and blame for that. So thank you.
Well, it all goes back to Danny Pena, aka Godfrey, because he's the one that inspired me way back in 2006 to jump in and start doing this stuff. And here we are in 2018, and I'm still doing it, which is crazy. Yeah. Yeah, and Danny's awesome, and you know, thank him as well, because he's another huge inspiration for me and for us. So, but again, thanks for being on, and you kind of mentioned it. You know, tell us how you got into podcasting and how you became part of the GTR team. Okay, so it's funny. I guess this really goes back to 2005. So, you know, obviously, like the iPod was out, things like that, and quote unquote podcasts were kind of sort of a thing back then, but not officially. And obviously, you know, we're all here because we love video games. So I was really into the original Xbox at the time, which was leading up into the 360. And I used to always be on this forum called Team Xbox, and you know, just a forum, people posting things, gaming related, all this stuff. And there would always be this guy on there just spamming up the forums. Like, hey, come check out my show. Come check out my show, Gamertag Radio. And next thing I know, I started listening to it. And there was another one at the time called DreamStation.cc, which another good friend of mine who helped me early on, Chris Palladino, he was a host on there, him and Tom. And Chad. God, I'm just going so far back in time. Everyone's in all these different places now. But back to the point. So I would just listen to those guys randomly all the time. Just big fans of theirs. And Danny, I remember, got this when the Xbox 360 reveal happened. They pre-taped it in Hollywood. It was going to be on MTV. Well, it hadn't aired yet on MTV, but it already had done the show. And he got the PMS clan. Someone just rang my doorbell. Sorry. He got the PMS clan and a couple other people that were on the show to actually come on Gamertag Radio, and they were talking about Perfect Dark Zero and the 360 and all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. How did he get this? And that really just cemented me as being a listener of his. Well, fast forward even beyond that, both Danny and Chris got to go to Microsoft for Lord of the Rings event. And this was in 2006 at this point. And I just remember watching this and going, oh my God, they get to do a podcast and they get to go to Microsoft. This is the coolest thing ever. So I called up one of my good friends at the time. I was like, hey man, we got to do this too. Let's try it. Let's try doing a podcast. Why not? We like video games. We like other stuff too. So let's do this podcast. And it was called The Old School Gamers. And it was very short-lived, so to speak. But what came out of that was, because we're trying to learn, trying to get better, I reached out to Danny and Chris at the time. And Chris got back to me right away. And I just, like, we're on Skype right now. He hopped on Skype with me on a Saturday morning, and he literally listened to the podcast, walked me through on tips like, hey, here's the kind of recording software you can use to record. It was Adobe Audition, which I still use to this day. And just, you get on Skype, just all these things that he was giving me tips on. Well, Danny didn't get back to me right away. Took him about 3 weeks because he was on vacation or something. And then same thing, just was a great help, pointers and all that. And the short-lived podcast went away. And out of the ashes of that was in June or July of 2006. I can't remember anymore. But I got with a friend of mine called Robbie, and we started Uncle Gamer Radio. And I did that podcast from 2006 until October of 2011. And just so many amazing memories and just moments that came out of that podcast. Now, one of my really good friends to this day, Jay Van Beveren, came on about a year into the podcast, and he became a co-host. And like I said, we've just been fast friends ever since. And it's been a trip, man. Like I said, I did Uncle Gamer until 2011 when I quote unquote retired, because Jay wound up getting a job within the gaming industry. He was even working for EA at one point. And it just wasn't the same anymore, because Jay and I were just we just had such great chemistry doing the podcast together. And I tried a couple different co-hosts, and it just wasn't the same. And I was like, you know what? I've seen it, done it all in this industry. I'm very happy with what I was able to accomplish for a quote unquote hobby. I'm good. And I mentioned that because during all this time, Danny and I have been great friends, always. E3s, we'd help collaborate, all this stuff. So it wasn't even a thing that, if I needed help with something or vice versa, we were there for each other. We were just friends. It didn't matter if we did the podcast or not, right? So I was always good with that. And in was that 2013? I guess it was 2013. BioShock Infinite came out. Mm-hmm. And they asked me to come on. Actually, I came on right before that. Just as no, it was BioShock Infinite had me come on. It was BioShock Infinite came on because I just love that game. And we had a great rapport, myself, Danny, Pete, Mandy, and Poston at the time. Mm-hmm. And they got great feedback from it. And then I remember I came on a second time, I want to say, and they got great feedback again. And then they wound up reaching out to me. I remember it was Pete via Facebook, reached out to me and said, why don't you just join full time? And I was very hesitant. I was like, I don't know if I can do this full time, because I was very used to not podcasting anymore. I didn't know if I wanted to make that commitment again. And I remember I just said at the time, I'll be on when I can. Well, be on when I can. That was 2013. Here we are in 2018. It's very rare that I miss an episode at all since that time. Yeah. And it's been a great, and I bring up my early days with Uncle Gamer and all that because I have very fond memories of that. And like I said, Jay and I, he's just one of my best friends in the world. I love him to death. But it's no disrespect to that era of me podcasting, but I have to say, since I've been a part of GTR, Danny and Pete and I, Mandy, we're brothers and sisters. I talk to those guys every day in some form.
This all sounds really familiar.
Yeah. And that's just how it is. We talk every day. And like I said, they're like my brothers. Mandy is like my little sister. And, they're family at this point. And again, it wouldn't even matter if we didn't podcast anymore. We would still probably talk every day, but just the things that we've been able to experience together and just the accomplishments that Gamertag Radio has had since we've all been together is something that I'll always be very proud of. Like I even just think of when I know you might want to ask some of these things later, so I'll try not to go too in depth on it, but just some of the accomplishments and the things that we've been able to see as a group in these past 5-6 years has just been amazing. Like I've been to Europe 3 times to see a video game. And that always just trips me out. Like I was in Paris, France for a week to see Ghost Recon before anyone else in the world really got any hands on with it. Pete and I. And it was a small group of media people. It was only 7 of us. And I just think about that and I just think, how lucky am I? It's like when you think of stuff like that and how appreciative I am that, I look at going way back to 2005, I like video games and I like listening to people talk about them turned into, oh yeah, I spent a week in London and did a complete tour of London and saw all these amazing things because of a video game. I got to meet Phil Spencer and talk to Phil Spencer and tell him to his face, I don't like Kinect, but in a respectful way. You know what I mean? Like I could have that conversation with him and he understood my point of view, and walked away. Like I remember it, not to name drop, humble brag it, but when we interviewed Phil Spencer back in 2014, it was 2014, and we talked about all that stuff, he literally added Danny and I on Twitter like an hour later.
That's awesome.
And as silly as that sounds, it was like, oh my God, Phil Spencer follows me on Twitter, the head of Xbox, just crazy stuff like that. But the reason I bring that up is because I'm very proud, and it's taken me a long time to accept this fact, and I'm not trying to say this in an arrogant way, but I'm really good at talking about video games.
You are, man. That's why we're having you.
I just am, and it's a very hard thing for me to say because I don't feel like I'm a special person or I'm better than anyone or anything like that. But I try to just view the gaming industry in a logical way. I don't praise something just to praise it. If I praise something, it's because I think it deserves praise. If I bash something, I try to bash it in a respectful way, because at the end of the day, this is a job for everyone, right? All these people in the industry, this is how they feed their families. So no one is purposely trying to make a crappy game or a crappy piece of hardware. You take risks in life, and they don't always pay off. So some things will fail. So when you run across something that fails, point out that you don't like it, give a reason why you don't like it, and be respectful to the people that actually make the product. Like it's so funny, I just bring up Xbox specifically because I always catch grief with Xbox because I've been very hard on them over the past years. I would say probably since about 2009. And the reason I am is because I love Xbox. I'm not talking to you right now without Xbox. Not only do I mention wow, I am talking a lot, but I will continue.
That's okay.
Obviously I mentioned Danny and all as an inspiration early on. Well, a byproduct of that was 2007, they made me an Xbox MVP. Like I went to the Crackdown community event at Microsoft. So I bring that up because like here it is a year before, I'm like, wow, those guys got to go to Xbox. And then a year later, I was there. Yeah. How crazy is that? That's crazy. And from that event, I wound up being Xbox MVP. But you're going to ask a question.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I actually, it brought back memories for me too. Because I remember when I very first started listening to your show. It was during E3 of 2013.
Mhm.
And back then, I was kind of Xbox fanboy guy. I never really owned a PlayStation.
Mhm.
So I'm listening to you guys, and I'm like, I was kind of in denial at that point. You know, I'm like, Xbox One's gonna be awesome. You know, it's not that bad. And I listen, and I'm hearing this guy, you on there, just like, you know, you're saying all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I don't like this guy. But every time I thought about it, I'm like,
Yeah.
he's right. And it made me go out. I ended up getting both. I still have both. I now have a One X and a PS4 Pro. And lately I find I'm playing a lot more on the PlayStation, but we'll kind of get to that. But yeah, it brought back that memory of like how I first started listening to you guys, and like you kind of made me come to terms with it, because nothing you were saying was wrong. It's just sometimes telling people things they don't want to hear, and that's okay.
And that's the thing, and that's something you learn as a podcaster. That's just one thing. You need to have thick skin, because people are not going to agree with you all the time.
Nope.
And people will be upset with you a lot. If you go through my Twitter timeline, people just mad at me all the time about stuff. But you know, I just ignore it, and I just keep going, because I will never say that my opinion matters more than yours. You will never hear me say that, because at the end of the day, it's my opinion. You have your opinion. Up to you what you want to listen to, right? That's not for me to say. I'm just giving my opinion. That's all it is. You know, for better or for worse. Matter of fact, just a little quick side story. I had a guy yelling at me on Twitter earlier this week because I didn't like Solo, where the Star Wars franchise was going, and he basically told me he basically told me how to think. Like, your opinion is wrong. You should think this way. And I actually did comment on him. I'm like, dude, you can have your opinion. I will never tell you to not have your opinion, which is fine, but you can't tell me what to think. Right. Nor, just like you saying, back in 2013, I could not tell you what to think. Didn't matter what I said. If I'm saying something negative about Xbox and you're all in on Xbox, all you care about is Xbox. And it's funny, because I've gone back and listened to those reaction right after the briefing video, podcast we did. And you hear it in my voice, like, and this was before even PS4 got they announced what they were doing. And I'm like, I don't know about this, man. Like, this is $500. I don't know. This doesn't seem right to me. This is underwhelming to me. I don't get it. And then sure enough, later that night, I was in the crowd that night where Sony, because we just assumed Sony was doing the same thing with used games at that point, right? Remember the whole digital thing and all that? Yeah. So we're like, well, if they're 500, PS4 is going to be 500. They're going to do the same thing that Xbox is doing. And when they did the exact opposite, and it was $100 less, to be in that crowd that night, that is one memory of gaming I will always cherish, is that I can say I was in that press conference that night when PlayStation said $399. The crowd went, like, the contrast of Phil Spencer said $499 for Xbox One, and people were kind of politely clapping like, yeah. And then people lost their minds when Sony said, oh no, used games still the same, $399. And right there, just in those words, here we are in 2018, and those words still have power to this day. This is why PlayStation is at this point more than 2-to-1 than what Xbox One is doing right now. And Xbox is scrambling to get back to where they need to be a true competitor to what Sony's doing right now. That's why PlayStation is selling at such a historic rate. And I know we'll get an Xbox and all that stuff later, but that 2013, that'll be an E3 that will always stick out in my mind, because it was just so game changing at the time that you have these two companies and the philosophies were just polar opposite at the time, which, I don't think we'll ever see that again. I really don't. Yeah.
So that sounds like it's one of your favorite moments in E3. Do you have any other favorite moments from E3s in the past?
It's funny, because my son actually asked me that just earlier this week. What was my favorite moment from E3? And like I mentioned before, getting to sit down with Phil Spencer in 2014 is definitely a highlight for me. I can tell you one of my greatest most exciting moments was E3 2001, the very first E3 I ever went to.
Okay.
And I had no business being there, by the way. But I wasn't obviously a journalist or anything. I'm just random guy who hustled his way in. And I will never forget walking in. Was that South Hall or West Hall? But I just remember walking in for that first time, going up that escalator. And that's when EA had their booth was still there. And it was right at the front. And you come in that front door, and I remember they had Madden on the big screen and the big EA signs and all that. And I was like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. And I always tell people the first time they go to E3, you're going to have that deer in the headlights look, and it's going to take you a few hours. You're just going to have a grin on your face the whole time. It is literally the adult Christmas going into that. For that first time, I'm old, bitter, and jaded at this point now, but back then, that's just something I'll never forget. I would also say another amazing moment, and this would have been the very next year. This would have been 2002. Going to the Xbox booth and going to the Halo 2 demo presentation. Joe Staten was the one hosting it, and that's when they showed that infamous Halo 2 demo, where Chief coming to Earth, and first time you see him, kicking the brute off the Ghost and dual wielding and all that. I probably went to that demo about 4 times when I was at E3, because to me that was just so amazing, and it's just one of those moments I'll never forget. I'll say on a more personal note, last year was pretty special to me. Just because of some of the people and some of the access that I was privy to at the time. Mm-hmm. I'm a big Destiny fan. Mm-hmm. And last year was pretty special for me as far as being able to cover and follow the journey of Destiny 2 leading up to launch. Like, I went to the reveal event in May, and then at E3, I literally saw Deej everywhere, which was so funny. And getting to sit down with some of the guys at Bungie and interview them on camera and talk to them, private conversations with them. I even went to a private event that Bungie was having for all their employees and, Bungie staff and PR people. And then they had, some quote unquote, influencers there as well. And they invited me, which I thought was just the most amazing thing, for me, but just on a personal note, because as much as I love the game and as much as I love the vision of in the hours of entertainment that company has given me, over the years, the fact that they would invite me to something like that. And, now it's like, now I know some of those guys on a personal level, which, it's just an amazing thing. But I would say the number one thing overall for E3, just as a whole, as a thing, it isn't one particular year. It isn't one particular moment. Every year is like the high school reunion. Because you meet so many amazing people in this industry, both that work in the industry, that cover the industry on the media side, etc. People like yourself, Pocket, all that. Mm-hmm. And you meet so many of these people over the years. And a lot of times, E3 is the only time you get that face-to-face interaction. So it is always such a special moment when you just get to see some old faces and you get to hug it out and you get to have those conversations that you have on Twitter all the time in person. And it's like, or when you meet that person that you've talked to on social media or on a podcast or something for years, and then you finally get to meet them face to face. And then it's like it doesn't even matter that this is the first time you've interacted face to face. You already know each other. It's like, it's just natural. And that's such a cool freaking thing. And it's like, if there's anything I'm excited about for next Saturday is to have that moment again, because it happens every year, where you get to meet these people that you've known online forever to finally meet them face to face. And yeah, it's priceless. You can't put a number on that. It's just something you have to experience for yourself. Once you do, man, I mean, it's awesome. It's why we keep doing it.
Is it almost more fun for you at this point to kind of see people that are at their first one and having that experience?
Yes. Yeah. I have a rule. Any new person that goes to E3, like we go to the Xbox briefing next Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. You have to sit next to me. Because, see, I'm old and bitter and jaded now, so none of this stuff excites me anymore when they do all their presentations. I love to just look at that person while they're getting all excited and they're clapping and they're doing all that. And I'm just like, nah, not me. I go, my cold dead heart doesn't feel this anymore, so I live through you. But joking aside, that is such a highlight for me to be able to go to like these press briefings and stuff with people that are brand new to it and just genuinely see the joy that they have for it. Again, you can't put a number on it. It's such a priceless thing to be able to experience.
That's awesome. And you mentioned the Phil Spencer interview, and that's a bucket list one for me to be able to do someday. But what are some of the other favorite interviews from E3? Because you get a lot of opportunities. That's one thing that's awesome about your show is like you have so many interviews with so many people during E3. Like, what are some of your other favorites?
Just going off the top of my head, Aaron Greenberg, who's like basically like the head of Mark. He's like kind of like almost the number 2 guy at Xbox now. It's literally an annual thing now. We always sit down with him and talk to him, and it's always a highlight to be able to speak with him because we have a semi-personal relationship. I mean, we're not like best friends. I'm not calling him on the phone or anything, but we always have a great time, and he always knows I'm the skeptic. So he's always waiting to hear what I'm going to say because I'm going to bust his chops on something. And we had a moment where he knew for years I didn't even own an Xbox, and he knew why, and he respected why. And they knew they were sitting on Xbox Play Anywhere because I have high-end PC and I play a lot of games on PC. And literally, he before the briefing was like, I can't wait till we reveal something, And I'm sitting in the crowd, and he's down below, and he literally he sends me a Facebook message right after it announced Xbox Play Anywhere, and he's looking up at me and he goes, "Are you happy now?" Because he knew, and I just thought that was so awesome that would happen. So he's always a great interview. I'll take you way back. So, and I know I'm talking a lot, so please cut me off when you can.
Please do.
But I'll take you way back to E3 2007. This was the Santa Monica E3 disaster, by the way. But one couple great things that came out of that was I got to sit with Ken Levine, and it was maybe 3 other people in there with us because they did them like in hotel rooms. So I'm in there in a demo with Ken Levine for BioShock, and he's running through the demo, and he hands me the controller, and he's literally narrating what I'm going to experience in the demo, Rapture, his ideas, what he's thinking ahead as I'm playing through the thing. And this wasn't an official interview. This is just me being there, which I've actually then got to interview Ken Levine officially. One of the best interviews I've ever done in my life, by the way. That was an amazing kind of interview / moment there. Even last year when I bringing up the Bungie thing, and you can search on YouTube, you can actually see this on camera, but I interviewed a couple of the Bungie guys, and we're talking about Destiny 2, and we're talking about Destiny 2 on the PC and all that stuff, and just how much fun it was. It was just so much fun. We had such a great time doing it, and I just remember a lot of the Bungie guys were off camera. They had to come in the room, and they're watching, and PR people, and it was just so fun because we were sitting there laughing the whole time. It was great. Again, I'm winging this off the top of my head. Again, E3 2007, to have Peter Molyneux, again, wasn't an official on-record interview, but to have Peter Molyneux tell myself and another person, he pulls us off to the side and literally tells us everything about Fable 2 and politely asks us not to tell anyone because he shouldn't have been telling us. We'll never forget that. Never forget
cool.
that. That's so awesome. God, you talk about now, and I can't remember his name now, and I do apologize for this, but The Witcher 3, after they initially announced it, so this would have been 2013, pretty sure. But we went up to we got our presentation with CD Projekt Red. They showed off The Witcher 3, instantly fell in love at that point. I go, yep, this is my game. I literally, the PC I have today, I built to play that game. That's how much I was in love with Witcher 3. And the interview that I did right there in the show floor for that was a great interview. That isn't the moment that was awesome. It was that interview with this person. So then flash forward to 2016, I think. It was when they debuted Gwent. So this has been 2015, 2016, up in there somewhere. I go to play Gwent. They're doing a demo for Gwent, the presentation. Then we got hands-on with Gwent. And that guy remembered me from that interview the previous years. he goes, I remember you when we first showed off The Witcher, blah, 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 and wound up having a conversation. And I can't remember his name to save my life right now, but it's those little moments where you must have done something right when you meet someone, you interview someone, and they do 10,000 interviews in a day at these things, but you stood out to them. That's always awesome. Like even with Ghost Recon, we did an interview with a couple of guys for Ghost Recon Wildlands, and then when we went to Paris, when we went to Ubisoft the studio, and they remembered, like they remembered me. To me that always just trips me out, because I mean, obviously I know I'm a bigger guy or whatever, and maybe that's why, and I have a unique name, but I always appreciate that they always remember saying, yeah, I had a great time talking to you in the interview, things like that. Because the one thing that I try to strive doing is I don't want to just ask the same old basic generic questions. If you ever listen to me do an interview, I'm literally asking the questions to the things that I want to know about. I am one of the most selfish people you will ever meet in an interview, because I want to know what I want to know. I could care less what it was. No, I just want to know what I want to know, because I'm excited about the game and I have questions about it. That's how I try to approach it. You know what I mean? God, there's so many other interviews I can know, but those are just a few that stick out in my head. But there's definitely a lot more moments like that as well.
Yeah. It sounds like you've had some amazing experiences in the past. And I don't know about Tyler and Graham, and I'm sure they'll agree with me. We're excited to hopefully go next year. And if we do, we'll let you know and try to look out for you.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. If you get the opportunity to go. Because like I said, even if it's one time, just to say you've been there and you did it, like I said, that first year you go, you will have the deer in the headlights look and a stupid grin on your face every day. Every day. And that is an absolute promise. I am so lucky. And I say this a million times. I'm blessed, thankful, and just so lucky that I've had these opportunities to be able to experience some of this stuff, to be able to talk to people that make these games and see them as people. And I think that's the most important thing, because, we're all very, very guilty, because it's so easy to hop on Twitter and criticize something, like I said previously, without trying to understand the people behind these games. And I'll bring you a classic example of that with this Call of Duty Black Ops 4 right now. Everybody's just, no campaign, it's gonna suck, I'm boycotting it, I'm doing it. And my thing is this, could be right. You could be 100% right. But how are you going to criticize something when you've not even seen it? This was before the reveal event. I was saying this. You ain't seen it. You don't know. You're going on rumor and speculation. It's just like right now with this Fallout 76. Everybody's losing their mind. Oh, online, you're ruining Fallout. Fallout's a single-player RPG. Screw you, Bethesda. I'm boycotting. I'm never playing Fallout again. You don't know. You have no idea what they're doing. Wait until they officially come out and say, this is what Fallout 76 is. Here's how we're doing online. Here's how the survival mode works. I guarantee you there's still going to be a single player component to it. My whole thing is just relax. Wait until you have all the facts before you rush to judgment on anything. Yeah.
I'm gonna make you speculate, though. Is there anything this E3 that you are excited for?
Oh, that's easy. That is so easy. Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah. That's like I mentioned, 2013, getting that hour demo of The Witcher 3. Well, I got an appointment for another hour demo with CD Projekt Red. Oh. Hey, wink, wink. Unannounced title. But we all know it's Cyberpunk 2077. I cannot wait to be able to sit down and see what this game is going to be, because like I was just saying previously, Witcher 3, I fell in love with that game instantly. CD Projekt Red, in my opinion, is the best developer in the world right now with what they were able to accomplish with CD Projekt Red, and then to take a silly card game out of it and from Gwent and turn that into its own thing, which is highly competitive in the esports right now. I can't wait to see what lessons learned they're going to take from the open world of The Witcher 3 and apply it to Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not expecting it this year, obviously. I don't even think it's coming in 2019. It'll probably be a 2020 game. But, hey, take your time. Take your time. Get it right. I cannot wait. Another one I'm really anticipating is The Division 2. Just because I was highly skeptical of that game. I went to a preview event for the original, And right then and there, we had you can probably find it in archives. We talked to the creative director, and obviously I'm a huge Destiny guy, so I'm applying a lot of my Destiny logic to the interview, and he wasn't answering my questions about the end game. And I turned to Pete and I said, "This game in trouble. I don't know about this," right? And I just quite honestly never gave it a chance until because Ubisoft sent me a thing. I literally did not play The Division until December 28th of 2017. That's the first time I played it.
Wow.
You know, not being a beta, like the actual game. And this is the 1.8 update and just all the fixes. I can see the direction that they're going with it. And it has me very excited to see what Massive's going to do with The Division 2, because I think they've taken a lot of lessons learned from the community, and they've promised to build upon what they've learned versus what Bungie did with Destiny 2 and strip it all away, piss everyone off. And now they're coming back and fixing it all again. And I'm sure Destiny 2 Year 2 is going to be amazing. But yeah, those are probably on my top 2 list of known games that I'm excited for. Fallout 76 definitely has me intrigued as well. I mean, Splinter Cell is quote unquote rumored at this point, so that's not official. But if Splinter Cell is real, I'm definitely going to be excited to see that. Spider-Man, I'm super excited for as well on the PlayStation. And I mean, there's others, like Metro Exodus is another one I'm very excited to see. I've always been a big fan of the Metro series. And then, Assassin's Creed Origins really won me back to Assassin's Creed, because that's probably the closest game to The Witcher 3 that's been out since. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this Assassin's Creed Odyssey, even though I will say, if it's coming out this year, I'm concerned. I really wish Ubisoft would stop doing the yearly Assassin's Creed. I thought them taking a year off, the result was Origins. I would like to see them do Assassin's Creed every other year, every 3 years, really, to be honest. Yeah, so those are probably some of my most anticipated right now. I mean, I'm blanking, so I'm sure there's other games out there as well, but those definitely, Cyberpunk is number 1 on my list for sure.
Yeah, so you mentioned Division 2, and it made me think of something that you said on the show, that right now, if it was between that and Anthem, you're not taking Anthem. Yeah,
I'm glad you brought up Anthem, because that one I'm my curiosity factor, because it's the great unknown. We just don't know. So literally exactly a week from now, we'll probably know more about Anthem at this point at EA Play. But it's the great unknown. My thing is this, like I said on the show, Destiny, the original one, the only reason Destiny 1 survived was because of that raid early on. If they didn't have that raid early on, people would have abandoned that game and it would have been a disaster. And it bought Bungie time enough to fix it that we got the Taken King, and here we are today. They obviously took a step back with what they did at launch for Destiny 2. That's on them. They've admitted it and they're fixing it now. The Division, like I said before, had its problems early on with in-game content, everything, and they obviously came around and fixed it with 1.8. The reason I bring all that up is because I'm expecting Anthem to have year 1 problems, because that seems to be the pattern. BioWare's never done a massive shared shooter open world game before. This will be their first attempt. So I'm expecting rookie mistakes from them. The biggest thing that Anthem is going to have to accomplish, which the same with the Division 2 and hell, even Destiny 2 right now, show me compelling and interesting content to do in the end game. Give me something to chase in the end game over an extended period of time. That is the biggest thing that these shared shooters have to do. Because if I run out of things to chase, I'm going to get bored and I'm going to go do something else. So I believe Massive they've taken the lessons learned from their own game. And I'm pretty sure they looked at what Bungie did and said, yeah, fellas, we can't do that. So I'm expecting the Division 2 to have a plan for the end game and to spell it out and communicate that to us, when they reveal it. Whereas Anthem, I'm expecting probably to be able to interview someone there and not get the answers to my questions that I want to hear, which again, if I had to choose, if you said you only get one, I'm going to choose the sequel to a game where the developer made a mistake and they corrected it, and I expect them to build upon it, versus a developer who killed one of my favorite franchises of all time with Mass Effect Andromeda, by the way. And then now they're going to jump into this big shared shooter space, and I'm expecting it to be perfect. Look, look, Bungie has given me the expectation on what I should expect from a shared shooter since 2014. So I am not taking a step back at this point. So I would expect Anthem to have problems, probably fix them a year later. Then I'll probably give it a shot. So if I'm going to pick up a second shared shooter, it would be the Division 2.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and I have a little more hope than you, I think, for Anthem, just because BioWare did do the Old Republic and did have weak endgame when that game launched on PC, the Star Wars game. So I'm hoping they have a little more content in the endgame to start out. But I can see the concerns.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a thing of, trust me, I want it to be good. I want to play it. It is not a thing of, oh, this is going to suck, and I'm just being negative. I'm just, again, if I had to choose, if there's going to be one to have a problem, I would expect it to be Anthem before the Division 2 at this point.
I can see that, and it seems like BioWare has a lot to prove. But what company would you say has the most to prove, and which has the most to lose?
EA, again, just sticking along with exactly what we're saying. I think EA has a lot to prove because they've built up so much ill will with the community after the Battlefront 2 fiasco with the loot boxes and everything. To take, and again, if you've been listening to me before it came out last year, Mass Effect Andromeda, I was saying then, I was like, ooh, I don't know about this. It wasn't looking good. And my fears turned out to be true, so much so they shuttered the Montreal studio. They've put Mass Effect on ice. Mass Effect 2, one of the greatest games ever made. Again, you talk about E3 moments. Being in that E3 demo for Mass Effect 2 with Casey Hudson going through that, and I probably went in that one about 100 times because that's how amazing that game was, and it lived up to the hype when it came out. To then take, all right, we're going to start the franchise up again and bomb it so hard that you could go pick up Mass Effect Andromeda right now for $5. It's a shame. It's a damn shame. So that has me worried for BioWare as a studio. EA as a whole, yes, they have a lot to prove. Battlefield 5 is coming into a very crowded shooter market. Everyone's trying to do their variation on the Battle Royale mode right now, so let's see how that works out. Titanfall, as great as Titanfall 2 was, because trust me, if you didn't play the campaign, one of the best campaigns of last year, hands down. But the struggles that they've had, obviously the struggles that Battlefront has had. Where's my, oh my God, I gotta have an EA game? Maybe it's Anthem, I don't know. But they're probably ones that have the most to prove at this point, and to also prove that they're not building their entire business model around loot boxes, which they said they're not going to do. So again, prove it. That's what it really comes down to.
Okay, so you're just talking about like E3, and you brought up about Fallout 76. Now, this is a game where they did not have to announce. They could have saved it for E3 and just shocked everybody, me included. So more and more we're seeing companies like announce things prior to E3 to, like, I guess, get out of the way. So like Nintendo did it this year with its upcoming online service. Now, last month, Gamertag Radio had an episode discussing this topic, but unfortunately, I'm not sure what reason, but you weren't a part of the episode. So to give your opinion. So as someone who's not afraid to bring a strong opinion to the table, I'm wondering your thoughts on this upcoming service and what you got to say about it.
So again, just to be clear, the question is about these companies basically getting ahead of E3 to announce their games versus keeping it a surprise.
And I think with Switch Online, in to be specific, I think what are your thoughts on Nintendo Switch Online first?
Yeah, I'll start with that.
Yeah.
I'll start with that first. So it's a step in the right direction for Nintendo. Nintendo obviously is lagging way behind Xbox Live and even PlayStation Network when it comes to having a reliable online service. So the price is right for what they're trying to do. I was hoping for a more extensive virtual console, and I'd be willing to throw money at it to where they unlock the entire back catalog, do it like Xbox is doing with Game Pass. Charge me $10, $15 a month, whatever the case is, but I get Nintendo's entire back catalog. I'm talking from the NES all the way up to the GameCube as an example. That would have been something I wanted to see. They desperately need to partner with Discord at this point so they can get a reliable voice chat service on the Switch versus the convoluted way that you have to do it now. I would say, like I said, for a first step, I'm okay with what they're doing. So I'm not complaining too much about it. I mean, the proof is in the pudding when it actually launches, and we'll see. But to the other question, I think it's smart business practice at this point in the digital age, the social media age that we live in, the age of Reddit and 4chan and all that. A lot of this stuff gets leaked already anyways, because actually Fallout 76 had been out. Like, people like legitimately had already said, this is the game, this is the name of it, this is what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. If you go back in the archives of 4chan and Reddit, that happens a lot now. So I think, like even, when Rage got leaked, Bethesda just got out in front of it. Yep, it's out. Here it is. Assassin's Creed got leaked earlier this week, so Ubisoft just got out in front of it. I think some things you want to obviously try and keep a secret if you can. Other things, I think it isn't the shock of it coming out, more so than they can still stand up on a stage and in their words, explain what it is versus letting some random Reddit person tell you what it is. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay. Like, again, we still don't know if Splinter Cell is coming out, right? Ubisoft hasn't leaked that. So maybe that's the one thing that Ubisoft is going to keep it as a surprise. I know there's been a lot of rumored things on we still don't know what Halo is. We don't know what they're going to do for Halo. We have no idea, because we know Xbox has to get on that stage and talk about Halo in some form this year. So they didn't get out in front of that. So they're obviously keeping that as a surprise. So I think it just depends on certain things. I think when you have way too many studios involved and way too many moving parts involved, it's going to get leaked. So you might as well just go ahead and say something, if you can help it.
Yeah, at least
so
that way.
That's kind of my opinion.
Yeah, at least that way you get to control the message around it too,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
You control the message. Yep.
But so you brought Microsoft, and they just seem to lose to Sony on every front, in the court of public opinion anyway. And obviously right now, in terms of offering first-party games, there's a big gap between the two. What do you think they got to do? Like, what type of games would you need to see to say they're now on the same footing with Sony, or at least they're on the right way, or right direction, right path, coming out of E3?
Here's what I'll say on that. It is impossible for them to have the games ready in the next year to 18 months that can compete with what Sony has done in the past couple years. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Detroit's out, obviously we got Spider-Man coming, the list goes on. It's going to take them some time. Yep. I've talked about it a million times, the mistakes that Microsoft has made since 2013. And the irony of it is, if you go back and look at 2013, 2014, they had a lot of exclusive original games that were only on Xbox. The problem is no one liked them, or they got canceled. So what would be happening right now is you should be seeing Sunset Overdrive 2 right now. You should be seeing Rise 2 right now. You should be seeing a potential Fable sequel right now, Scalebound sequel. These should be the things that are in the pipeline right now. But because those Crackdown 3 still crickets, it got delayed again. These are the games that should be coming out right now. Yep. Obviously Halo 6 would be coming out right now, things like that. So, but they're not, because Microsoft misstepped, in the 2013 to 2016 window. So we're not seeing those sequels. Those sequels did not get greenlit. So they basically had to go to square one on a lot of this stuff. So long way to answer your question is, I think they obviously have a strategy for Halo. Halo 6 is obviously delayed. It is not coming out in 2018, and I'm very happy with that, because I was not a fan of the campaign approach and the false marketing they did for Halo 5. So they obviously went back to the drawing board on Halo 6 campaign, probably going to be way more focused on Chief and Cortana, as it should be. And then whatever they're going to do in the multiplayer, take your time, Microsoft. If it needs to be holiday 2019, do what you got to do. We're getting close to having another Gears of War, so won't be shocked. Like, let me back up. I think Microsoft needs to do a 2 to 3 year roadmap at this E3. Just let us know. Here's all the stuff we're working on. Here's what's coming. So in that 3 year period, like I said, Halo 6, a Gears. It's obviously been heavily rumored that we're getting a new Perfect Dark and a new Fable. Good. Yeah. That Santa Monica studio that they're standing up right now is supposed to be working on what they call, quote unquote, quadruple A titles. Make it an original IP. Make it something brand new that we've never seen before. But talk about the early concepts of what you're trying to do with it. That's all I want to know. I want Banjo-Kazooie. I've been saying it for years at this point. It is a freaking crime that Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts in 2008 is the last Banjo-Kazooie game that we've gotten from Microsoft. You own that IP. It is such one of the best platformers ever made. And you're sitting on that IP. Give it to someone that knows what they're doing. Put out a Banjo-Kazooie. Mario Odyssey looks at Microsoft and shakes their head and goes, see, this is what you can do. And, we've had Mario games for the past 30 years, and they keep reinventing Mario and keep making it amazing. So do something with Banjo. Beyond that, like I said, just surprise us. I think the services that Microsoft has built over the past few years have been fantastic. Obviously, Game Pass has a chance to be something revolutionary in the gaming space. Mm-hmm. Keep iterating on that. Keep doing that. Xbox Live, without question, is the crown jewel of these online services. And my headphone just went out, so I need to plug it in. Wait, I do hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. Yeah, my headphone battery beep. Charge battery, so that's about to go. But if all of a sudden I stop talking, that's why. Okay. But yeah, Xbox Live, obviously, crown jewel of online services. So just keep doing what you're doing on that. We see with the Xbox One X, it is legitimately the most powerful piece of hardware in the console space that we have right now. Keep iterating on things like that. Now, what they just got to do is give us the roadmap for the games, the compelling games that I'm going to care about, that I want to spend my money on to play on your system or your platform, be it Xbox Play Anywhere on the PC or on a console. That's really it. And this isn't a bashing thing at them, because like I said, I want Xbox to succeed. A competitive Microsoft makes Sony more competitive and vice versa. Yep. It's really all it comes down to. So I just want compelling games from them. Sony, here's a funny thing. Sony, ironically enough, because of Microsoft's missteps back in 2013, they were able to lean heavily on third party, lean heavily on indie games early on, while it bought time for their internal studios to now start pumping out these amazing titles. Yeah. Dude, I don't know if you finished God of War yet or whatever, but right now it's my game of the year. I dare you tell me something that's better than God of War right now. Currently, that's already out. Maybe something later on comes better in the year. Amazing. Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the, in my personal opinion, probably should have been game of the year last year. Those are two games that you can only play on PlayStation. We see what Insomniac's doing with Spider-Man. Looks like it's going to be phenomenal. You got that Ghost game coming from Sucker Punch. Looks phenomenal. On and on. These are what they're doing right now. And I want to have that conversation about Microsoft games. The closest that I've come to that, which is a damn shame, is Cuphead. And Cuphead's phenomenal, but it's an indie game.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not a AAA game.
So what you're saying is Microsoft needs to bring back Summer of Arcade before all these big titles come out. So just to wrap up the E3 coverage, we'll let you plug your show. Does Gamertag Radio have anything special planned for this year for E3?
Well, here's the irony. Because like you said, it's top of the show. I started a new job a month ago, so I don't have vacation time. So I won't officially be attending E3 this year. Even though I got my badge, I will be in the LA. Basically, I'll be going to a lot of stuff at night for E3. Okay. Versus on the show floor. I may only be on the show floor one day. Because look, I'm not missing that Cyberpunk appointment. That's happening.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I'll just go to a lot of evening stuff. But anything official that we have, not really, other than we're going to do a lot of video content this year. We're bringing a dedicated camera person this year. So we're going to do a lot of on camera, because we dabbled in a little bit last E3. Even Danny, he was just up at EA Montreal and did an interview for For Honor for their new season of content that's coming out, all on camera. So that would probably be the biggest thing. Twitch is something we've obviously transitioned into. We got partnered by Twitch last year. Matter of fact, almost exactly a year ago, because that's when they approached us. And we do the podcast live on Twitch now. Mm-hmm. So we're obviously going to continue to do that. We're going to be putting more content on Twitch. Obviously, when we're playing a game or something, we stream it on Twitch as well. So that, like I said, doing more on-camera interview stuff is going to be a big thing. But I mean, that's pretty much it. Other than that, just the typical E3 for us, where every time we do an interview, we're just going to be throwing up a ton of episodes up during that week. So a lot of content will be coming from us during E3. And thankfully, we have a lot going on Saturday and Sunday that I can participate in fully. And then there's a big thing that we'll be able to attend Monday night that I'll be able to go. Like I said, the night stuff I'll be able to go to. But the traditional on-the-show floor interview stuff, I unfortunately won't be a part of this year.
Okay, cool. Well, obviously, everybody can check that out by going and subscribing to Gamertag Radio. Encourage all of our listeners to do that. It's an awesome show. But where else can people find you, Parris? What, social media, Twitch, all that stuff? Where would you like people to come follow you?
Sure. I quit Facebook, so don't follow me on Facebook. Yeah. I'm so done with that. But our Twitch channel is twitch.tv /Gamertag Radio. You can, like I said, you can watch the show live on there, see any of our other content over there as well. Twitter, our official Twitter is @Gamertag Radio. But if you want to see the ramblings of an angry old man, I am @Vicious696. And I don't talk about just video games. I'm a huge nerd, so I talk about movies, TV, just whatever's on my mind, usually on my Twitch page. So yeah, that's where you can find us. And you know, it's like I said at the top of the show, man. It's been a passion project for me since 2006, and it is just crazy that here it is 12 years later. I'm still doing it and still going strong with it.
Yeah. And it's awesome, and we wish you many, many more years of it. Again, love the show, and I want to thank you for coming on, Parris. It's a pleasure and honor to have you on, especially for episode 100. We really appreciate it.
I have to apologize because it's been an hour, and I didn't even realize it was in an hour, and I feel like I talked the entire time.
But that's why we had you on. And we'd love to have you on again at some point, and just have maybe be part of an episode where we can all interact and do that. But really, this time we wanted to hear from you. So thank you. I so appreciate it, and I know our community is going to love it. So thank you for taking the time. It's awesome to have you on.
No, thank you guys for having me on. Like I said, you reached out to me, to have me on this time. Next time you want me on, just reach out again. We'll figure it out and make it happen.
Awesome. So
awesome.
Thanks, man. And good luck at E3 this year. And I know you don't get to go as much of it as normal, but I know you guys will have great coverage. Look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, thank you. And really looking forward to next week. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks. Definitely look forward to hear what you guys say about CD Projekt Red when you're allowed.
Well, hey, because it's funny, Danny and I were talking about this earlier. So my appointment is Wednesday at 6 p.m. is when I'm going to do it. We're literally, after I'm done, we're all going to get together because they're going to get to see it before I am. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to tell me anything. I'm not going to know nothing. So right after, we're literally going to have a podcast about it. We're just going to talk about what it is. So I'm really looking forward to that. So expect that next Thursday, most likely. So that Thursday of E3, it'll probably be out, I would guess.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much, and can't wait to see what you have this year. So, Parris Lilly, thanks for coming in, really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you guys again. I had a lot of fun.
Take care.
So yeah, I want to thank Parris again for joining us, and I just want to say, and I'm sure you guys agree, he could not have been a nicer guy. He couldn't have been more gracious with his time, just super accommodating, just a really good guy, and that's almost better. It is better than being super knowledgeable about video games. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just.
No. I that was so awesome having him on there, and I appreciate him taking the time to come on and allow us to interview him and kind of hang out a little bit.
Yeah, it was great, and want to thank him again for coming on, and it was a great experience, and just to get to talk to him for a little bit. And we definitely are going to have him on again sometime in the future. So looking forward to that. But hope you enjoyed the interview, everybody. And we got a lot more cool stuff coming with interviews over the course of the summer. So stay tuned for that. And if you're joining us from Gamertag Radio, if you're a fan of that show, hey, awesome. So am I. But if you'd like to, join our community, please do that. Subscribe on iTunes, CastBox, whatever it is you listen to. And maybe join our community on Facebook, the Gaming Hub forums, Twitter @TXH Gaming Hub, Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub there. And go ahead and click those links to join Discord. And go to YouTube, the Gaming Hub podcast there and become part of the community there. So we really appreciate that. And if you're listening from Gamertag Radio, thank you. We appreciate that. And we'd love it if you stick around and become part of the community. So, all right, Steve, this is episode 100, and we're having Fanfest today.
We are.
Fanfest.
So we're going to spend the rest of the episode just answering community questions. And we have a bunch of them. We have some really good ones. So thank you guys for sending them in.
Yeah, thanks for making me have to think hard.
I know,
Yes,
right?
you asked some great ones, and they're tough
You did.
ones.
So, Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you. Take the helm and let us know.
All right. So, first question started off easy from Piracy on Discord. Asks, how did you three meet?
Okay.
Well,
Go ahead, Graham.
I would say one game, NHL.
Yeah.
We bash on it, but out of it came a great thing, and Tyler
Yeah,
will
true.
inform you.
So, Graham and I originally met playing NHL 16. And, it's funny because I originally had the idea to do this show starting back in 2000 and late 2014. And kind of getting everybody together and getting everybody to the point where they would take the next step to start doing it took a little while. Well, then we met Graham playing NHL 16 in Graham, October of 2015, late September, early October. And
Yeah, the game wasn't out that long, so I would say October.
yeah. So we just kind of met randomly, and Graham came in and started playing with us on our EA Sports Hockey League team. And
Remember our first
I
game, Tyler?
do remember our first game because, so me and Graham were playing against these two other people on another team, and both teams picked the white uniforms. So we couldn't tell who the hell was what and what was going on. It was just, we were lost, and we were just laughing the whole time, whatever. But so we started to have a conversation over that winter, hey, let's, I'm thinking about doing this podcast. Would you like to be part of it? Because Graham just naturally, we hit it off, and, we got along really well and had really good conversations about gaming and lots of other stuff. So, and Graham was all for it. So we started doing practice episodes, which are still
Captured
in the vault. I have them.
Keep them sealed off.
Yep. And man, go back and listen to those, everybody. Wow. We've come a long way from there to 100. So
Yeah.
lessons have been learned. We'll put it that way.
And then
So we started that way. Graham's been around since the very, very beginning. So fast forward to what, Steve, late 2016?
it was Christmas time of 2016.
Yep.
I was in Alberta.
You were.
And I had joined the community because I was a listener at the time. And I jokingly said on one of the posts on Facebook about how amazing I was at NHL. Well, it turned out to be true. I'm a freaking all-star and, 10-point games and all that. But I jokingly said that, and then they invited me to play, and I was terrible the first few games. I was rusty, and I wasn't very good. But then I turned into the amazing center they know and love.
Some things never change.
And eventually they decided to bring me on, and and I appreciate that. But yeah, NHL seems to be the common denominator between three of us.
It is. So fast forward, Steve was a part of the community. He was an active part of the community, and we kind of brought him in playing NHL. Got to talk to him a lot. Again, just became a natural thing. We just all got on mic every night, and Steve just kind of became part of the group, right? That we just talked to all the time. So fast forward again all the way to November of 2017. I just got done relocating for work across the country, and we had just gotten done at the end of a 9-week hiatus off the show. Sorry again, everybody, about that, but and we just kind of had this conversation we were going to make some changes and do some things and move forward, doing some things differently. And we asked Steve hey, you want to be part of the show? We felt it would be a good fit Because, like, when me, Graham, and Steve are all in, like, party chat together, it flows super well. And it's really good. So he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then he came on, and like he said earlier, like, super stiff the first episode. It was kind of funny. It was the cutest ever. But you kind of, loosen up really quickly. And I feel like, since then, and especially like once we hit like January, it's really gone in the right direction. We have a good mix. We have a good chemistry. And really happy with where we're at. So anyway, that's the answer to how we all kind of met.
Yeah. All right, we'll go next question. Based God on Discord as well asks, what has been your favorite moment or episode you all have done? I mean,
Okay,
I'll go
Graham,
first.
yeah, Graham, I was going to say, do somebody want to go first here?
I'm going to say, well, this episode 100, actually hitting that feat, that is a pretty memorable moment. I'll definitely hold this one on for a long time. But another thing, too, which you guys that just listened to up to that point, the interview with Parris, I would say that has probably been my highlight. And this is kind of like solidifies where, okay, like we're getting some known people. It's not just us three just rambling on and stuff like that. So that is actually, that's a big, I feel like that's a great achievement, and I'm proud of it, and I hope these two are proud of it as well. They should be. Yeah. And it's pretty recent, but that's kind of what's in my head. So maybe that's how Sony wins their conferences. It's the most recent one. So that's my answer.
Yeah, I can agree with Graham that was an amazing moment. But my favorite would be the episode where we talked about like inclusiveness in gaming. I thought that was a very poignant. I'm terrible at pronouncing words.
Poignant,
there we go. Poignant episode, and I thought it was. I mean, not to toot our own horn here, but like I thought we did a good job on that one, and I cared a lot about that episode, and that's why it's my personal favorite. But the Parris interview was also amazing, and so those are basically 1 and 2 tied.
I'm gonna second you, Steve, and it's my favorite episode is definitely the inclusion in gaming episode. I think we hit on something that really resonated with the community. And that one, and we got some feedback from the community like right after that episode, like talking about how much they loved it and how it kind of resonated with them. And I think it's episode 84 if you want to go back and listen to it. But I'm really proud of that episode. I'm proud of kind of what we did there, and I love when we get into topics like that. I love when we're not just like ticking off like, here's the other news item in gaming this week. I love when we're able to branch off from a news item into something real, for lack of a better word. And I think that episode did that, and it showcased kind of the best of what we can do. So I'm really proud of that one. That one stands out. And I'll second Graham, like just having the interview last weekend was a great time, and that was a highlight for me, and that was a lot of fun, and I want to do that more with lots of people in the gaming industry. So that was a lot of fun. And also I'll say another high point, and I'm not going to give it away yet because nothing's like concrete or solidified, but we've sent some floaters out, everybody for different interviews and having different conversations and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, one of the ones we got to hit back on from somebody that was like, yeah, I'd like to come on if such a time frame works for you. Man, that was a cool moment.
I was gonna mention that too, but I'm like, okay, I don't know.
And
we'll see.
I'll tell you, for now, it's something that we're sharing between the three of us, but we're hoping that we'll be able to share with all of you here in the next few weeks.
Stay tuned.
It was something where I was just really proud of everything we've done the moment that we got the email back. So I'll say that much, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But those are the high points for me. What else you got?
All right, well, we'll go to the other side of the coin. And Dylan asks, what is a regret you've had with the podcast? Something done sooner or wish you never did?
Anyone?
I'll step aside here because I've only been on for 30, and I can't say I have any regrets in that time.
Okay.
So I'll let you two guys go.
Then I'll go with one. On earlier episodes, like way back, like sometimes there was promises made of something that would happen, and these promises did not get fulfilled whatsoever. So I kind of regret to the people, especially the people that are looking forward to this kind of stuff, saying, okay, we're going to do this every week or whatever, and we do not follow through it. And I don't like we put that out there, and if someone is out there is looking forward to it, it's like, oh, I'm going to listen to these guys for this reason, and then we don't deliver. So these empty promises, that is a regret, and I apologize for anyone who have suffered from this. Personally, I don't like it, so that's something we would definitely try to avoid.
Well, I hope nobody suffered from it, but
I don't think anybody suffered. It was probably for the best, though.
Yeah, yes, and
but in general,
I'm just gonna say this: I apologize as well for that kind of phase of podcast history for us, and that's going back a ways.
Yes, it is
a long ways, but yeah, I mean, there were commitments made about segments that were going to be on every week or things that were going to be done streaming wise or whatever, and they just never materialized and didn't happen and whatever. And, you know, I'll be 100% blunt when I say that my commitment, our commitment to you is to always bring you the best content that we can at any given time, and that, you know, factored into some of the decisions we made about some of the changes that we made. So, and I feel my motivation is always to provide the best product that we can for everybody that's listening to the show. Period. And, you know, I feel like we've done that in the last few months, and Graham, I'm with you. What I'll say to that, though, to that answer to that question, is there have been some moments on the show that, man, I wish we could have back, or I just shake my head at, and some of you just laugh at, right? So, if you go like all the way back to episode 6, there's a moment where, you know, one of those claimed that they were like part of one of the most iconic scenes in movie history. So there's that, if you want to go back and listen to that.
And where would they find that?
You know, on iTunes or wherever, episode 6.
Episode 6.
So if you, if you want to do that.
Don't recommend it.
So, the one, though, that I would like to have back, the episode I'd love to have back, is episode number, I think it's 39. Where we talked about the release of the Nintendo Switch, and I think we could have handled that just so much better. I think it wasn't a conversation. It just got off the rails really fast, and it turned into something where I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I don't even want the Switch right now, and I've already bought it. You know, so maybe we have that to blame, Graham, for
maybe
my not playing it that much. But anyway, so there are moments that we'd love to have back, everybody, and you know, as much as we try, we're not going to deliver, you know, home runs every single week. We try to. That's our goal. But it's not going to be perfect every single week, and we just keep trying to learn from what we do. And for everybody out there, like, after we record an episode, just a little inside baseball here. After we record an episode, now you guys can attest to this, we literally get in chat for like 2 to 3 hours and break down the episode and talk about what went well and what didn't and what we need to do better next time. So we're committed to continuing to do that and learn from some of the mistakes we make and just keep getting better.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next question then speaking of, purchases we may have regretted, Buddy Boy asked, what is your best and worst gaming purchases ever?
Best for me was the Fallout 4 Pip-Boy edition. Because not only is it kick-ass to have that companion app there and on your wrist and like click it up and use it while you're playing the game, but it also makes a very cool display. And mine right now is being displayed, but like I didn't go through the whole game with it, but I tried it like a few times after I beat the game. I think because I think it was a while before I got the Pip-Boy edition. But yeah, I was totally happy with that purchase. And I'm just looking forward to more Fallout games that will have the companion app, and I can just strap that Pip-Boy back on my wrist and go through it. And on the other side of the spectrum, one of my worst purchases, I don't know if it was the worst, but maybe one I regret the most, probably because it was kind of a waste of money. That was a replica of, I forget the car, but the car from Mass Effect Andromeda. It was really cool, and I thought it'd be worth getting it, but basically now it's just in a box somewhere, and I don't know where it is, so I would say that one is offhand. That's all I could think of, so that's my two.
So Graham, really quick, you got your Pip-Boy edition. If I remember right, like your Pip-Boy edition got delayed by a day or two, didn't it?
Yes.
So you actually went and bought another copy of the game?
Yes.
So you didn't have to wait.
On midnight release.
Yep. And that started your journey of owning like 54 copies of Fallout 4.
Yeah, that is pretty much where it started. And at one point, I couldn't find a disc. I thought when I got, I had a problem with my Xbox One Elite console. So I returned that one. And I couldn't find a disc for my Fallout 4. So I had myself convinced that it was left in that console and it was gone. So then I paid for it digitally.
Oh, God.
Because I didn't want to open my other Pip-Boy editions that have not been opened yet just to get out the game.
Your other ones. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, this is crazy. I don't have this disposable income that Graham has. So
Had.
So I didn't buy 2 Pip-Boy editions of Fallout.
I have 3 actually.
Oh my God, Graham!
Please, I didn't even know that was that bad. My favorite gaming purchases, I'm gonna call it a tie between my Xbox One X and my PlayStation 4 Pro. The God of War PS4 Pro was kind of like an on the whim. Like I saw the console, I'm like, hey, I have some extra money. The one time I did have some disposable income, and I have a 4K TV. I'd like to play some of the PlayStation games in 4K. And actually, the Xbox One X kind of was a similar situation. I had the money, and Tyler and one of the other hosts at the time was talking about their Xbox One X's and 4K TVs. And I was like, you know what? Black Friday's coming. I'm going to go buy one. So I did. And
a TV.
And the TV. So that was not a cheap day, I tell you what. But I'm so happy I did. I love my One X, PlayStation 4 Pro, my 4K TV. As far as worst gaming purchases, my worst one would be I bought a gaming laptop. So I came home, for those of you who've been listening for a while, I was in the Army. I came home from deployment with a lot of disposable income. I had a lot of money saved. And I was in the mood for a computer and gaming computer because PlayStation 4 and Xbox One was out at the time, so there weren't a lot of great games, but there were a lot of games on the PC I was looking at playing. So I went and got a gaming laptop that had a NVIDIA GeForce 745M, the GT, not the GTX. So this was before I really knew a lot about gaming computers. And then my buddy, who was a little delayed coming back by a couple months, got a desktop computer for around the same price, which just had such a better graphics card. And so I regretted not buying a desktop computer and then just upgrading it over the years instead of buying the laptop that I spent too much money on. And that's basically been my everyday use laptop as opposed to gaming.
Yeah.
So that one was kind of a waste of money. Tyler, I'll let you go here.
Okay, so my best purchase, it's not like a specific gaming, it's not a game or a console or an accessory, even though I do love my Xbox One X. What I'll say is I went to, back in the day when they were still a thing, like Hollywood Video, and I got the like monthly pass. I don't remember what they called it. But the monthly pass where you pay a monthly fee and then you can just keep like taking out games, right? And I would take out games for my Xbox 360. And the reason I say it's the best purchase I've ever made gaming wise is that it broadened my horizons so much as a gamer. Because at that point, like, you know, I originally I was just like a sports gamer. And then I started branching out. I started playing like Call of Duty, and then I played BioShock, and I played a couple other things, and started to discover all this other stuff. And then I got this thing, and I played so many games that I never would have bought, but discovered that I just really enjoyed. And all of a sudden now you fast forward, and these guys can attest, like I buy like almost everything, sadly. So it's like, yeah, it's broadened my horizons, like for the good and the bad. But I probably never would have been interested in a game like the original Red Dead Redemption without having done that like a year before. You know, and then I gave a chance to a game like Red Dead, and like, oh my god, I fell in love with that game. It's so good, and I can't wait for 2 this year. You know, and that I think is the best purchase. The worst one, Graham, earmuffs.
Yep.
My
Go ahead.
Nintendo Switch.
That's your loss, though, personally.
It's my turn to talk, Graham. Nobody interrupted you.
I'm done.
But fanboy, go away for a second. And Graham and I talked off mic, off the show, and had a fair point. Like, not sure what I was really looking for from it, and I'm not sure I have a specific answer for that. I am really bummed about the lack of Virtual Console. Graham called me on that, but I called BS on his call out on that. But I think Virtual Console would have been good because I originally had the NES as a little kid, and then I haven't had any Nintendo system all the way up till now. So I was so looking forward to playing Virtual Console to catch up on all these games that I never played. And now they're not going to have that. You know, we agreed they're going to call it like, you know what, Purple Rainbow Unicorn or whatever.
Yeah, it's a working title.
So, it's a working title, yeah. But now I feel like here's these franchises, Graham. You throw like Zelda Breath of the Wild at me, and I'm not invested in that series because I never played it coming up. And the reason I was hoping for Virtual Console is so that I could go back and play some of those other games and get caught up. And I know you said to me like earlier today, well, I can just go get like the SNES Classic. Well, I shouldn't have to have like a stack of boxes on my entertainment center to get caught up on this when Virtual Console is something that they've offered before. And I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping they just bring it out in a different name, like Purple Rainbow Unicorn. But right now, that's not a thing. Maybe next Tuesday they'll change. Highly doubt it. But that's why it's been really disappointing. It has nothing to do with my attitude. But that's why it's disappointing, because I don't feel the connection with these franchises that you feel. And I was hoping to build that through going back and playing some of the games. And then when that rug was kind of pulled out, when, you know, I have a tough time saying they didn't know damn well they weren't going to do it at launch. I feel like they drug it out and then said, well, we have no plans to do it. That's BS. So I'm not looking for a debate because we're short on time and we got to get through questions.
No, I'm not debating. It's your answer.
All right, Steve, go ahead.
All right, we'll go happier news here.
Okay.
Betsy from Facebook asks, what is the biggest announcement you think will happen at E3 this year? I'll go first.
Yeah.
The Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
That's the biggest.
You know, I'm with you on that one. More and more I think that it's gonna happen, and it's gonna just blow the roof off of E3 because that would be a massive announcement.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. I haven't committed to it until right now. I'm gonna say it, and I might be dreaming, and it's probably wishful thinking. Microsoft's gonna announce VR with Oculus Rift coming out this fall with Halo 6 as a launch title.
That was my prediction from last week.
You didn't say this fall.
I didn't. Did I?
No.
And when you guys predict Elder Scrolls 6 as well?
No, I predicted Elder Scrolls, but not 6. But
Okay.
I think I've amended that to being Elder Scrolls 6. The more
Yeah.
I think it's just wishful thinking because I'm still hesitant because they keep saying it's a ways away. But I think they're
Of course
just
they
BSing
do.
us.
Don't believe anything anybody
I
says
know.
this time of year.
Oh, I'm not. And Todd Howard, I'm looking for you, buddy. You're giving it to us this year. You're giving it
Dude,
to us.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think Sunday has the potential to be one of the best E3 days we've seen in years.
Yeah.
Like with Microsoft and Bethesda going, because I think it's weird because they're in totally different spots. Like Bethesda is in a really good position with a chance to be in a great position, and Microsoft's in a position that they have everything to prove. I think it could be a really, really good day for E3 and one of the best we've seen in a long time.
It could also be the most depressing, disappointing thing.
It could be such a bummer.
If Bethesda doesn't announce a lot of games that we think they're going to, because they're having the longest conference in their history.
Yeah.
And so, like, it could be depressing if we don't see anything about some of these games we want. And then Microsoft they have absolutely, like, we talked about it before, the most pressure. And I think they easily could be the most disappointing out of all of them.
Yeah.
And so Sunday could either be the best or the worst.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. We're excited, though. Sunday it's almost here. 2 days.
I know. So,
2 days.
all right. So we got time for one more because I want to leave enough time to announce winners and all that stuff.
Sure. Goose Wong, I hope I pronounced that right, from Discord, asks, what game made you give up on a game series?
Oh, no, that's the easy answer because I didn't really play early on. I'll leave that for Graham because I think that might be his answer. Graham, I'll let you go first because I'm not going to use the one I was going to use.
What game made me give up on a game series? Well, I'm gonna go with Destiny 2. I never played the first Destiny, but I've given up on it. I don't see me ever going back to it or trying it. Destiny 3, 4, 5. I don't even know what I want from them. I would just pick my first-person shooter somewhere else.
Graham, you seem to like Battlefield. I think that's your jam.
Yeah, I do like Battlefield.
When it comes to that stuff, like because there's other ways to play than just getting kills and having a high KDR. So
Yes.
I think that's your jam.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and speaking of Battlefield, that's my answer. Battlefield 4 made me give up on that series because I loved Bad Company 2 and I loved Battlefield 3 after the Vietnam expansion came out. I played Battlefield 3 before the expansion and I didn't love it, but then the expansion came out and it sucked me back in with my group of friends I was playing with, and it was amazing.
Vietnam expansion was Bad Company 2.
I thought we had this debate before. I'm pretty sure.
No, it was because it wasn't Battlefield 3.
It wasn't. It was Bad Company 2.
Yeah.
The Vietnam.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
Damn it.
I corrected you back then too, just so you know.
No. Shh. Fine. Bad Company 2 was awesome. And then maybe Battlefield 3 was the one that kept Battlefield 3.
Now you don't even know.
But Battlefield, I'm tired of them. I'm kind of excited for Battlefield 5, but I say that now, and then when I play it for an hour, and then I just want to sell it.
You know, I can almost say Call of Duty as well. Sorry, I thought you were done.
Well, I was thinking that. I was kind of a toss-up between Call of Duty and Battlefield. They both are just kind of like, another one.
Specifically, it was zombies with me, though. Like, after Black Ops 2, I was, like, done with zombies.
Really? Okay. I find that kind of surprising, Graham.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's true, though.
Okay. So for me, it's kind of a Graham-like answer, like the way you answered it. The first game I played in the series was the last time I'm going to play it, most likely, and that's Mass Effect.
Oh, there you go.
So totally unfair, I get it. So, you know, the Gaming Hub Podcast at gmail.com. But, I never played Mass Effect 1, 2, or 3. I just didn't, and I don't know why, I just didn't. But I played Andromeda.
It's too bad you played Andromeda first.
I know.
1, 2, and 3. And the fact that the story carries over between them is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
1 doesn't hold up, though. My gosh, the elevators.
So,
The elevators.
But 2's like one of the greatest games of all time, so...
yeah.
Yeah.
So I never played 1, 2, or 3, but I played Andromeda, and yeah, I'm done. So, and I gave Andromeda like a really, I gave it the college try. Like, it wasn't like a half hour playing the game. It was hours playing the game. And it just couldn't hook me. Honorable mention to Prey, same thing. I did not enjoy Prey, the last game that came out recently. Did not enjoy it at all. So
yeah,
it makes me not want to look into that franchise at all.
I could see that.
I'll give him another chance. Andromeda was pretty terrible, but I still have faith in BioWare and Mass Effect.
Yeah, but BioWare's all in on Anthem right now, and if they're looking to do a Destiny type thing, that's all hands on deck all the time. And that was part of why Andromeda was rough, because they had their A team working on Anthem.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, I think we see a new Dragon Age.
Maybe.
Before Mass Effect.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree with you there. Yeah.
Maybe they'll give it the Tomb Raider treatment, and further down the line, when they do like a reboot of the series, it is mind-blowingly amazing.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I feel like that's years off. Like, at least, 3 or 4.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that.
Maybe 5.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
All right. So I want to turn it over to Steve for questions, or not questions, but like winners. But real quickly, first, reminder that if your name is announced, you have to contact one of us to receive your prize. Best way to do that is join the community, Gaming Hub Forums on Facebook. You can also go to Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub. Same thing on Twitter, at TXH Gaming Hub, to have a chance to win all the prizes that we have. Just like we're giving out tonight. So we have a lot of stuff that we're going to be giving away over the course of E3 over the next 7 days. So please join and ask questions so you have a chance to win. Steve, who are our winners today?
All right. Well, we have 4 of them.
Awesome.
So Betsy on Facebook, Dylan Anderson on Facebook as well, and then Adam from Discord, and Tony24313 from Discord. So those are our 4 winners, so contact us and claim the prize.
Cool. Sorry, guys, we are short on time, so we got to get out of here. But again, I want to thank everybody in the community for being awesome and, being active in the community, taking part, asking questions, having a great discussion, all that stuff. You are the reason we do this, and you're the reason that we made it 100 episodes. I want to thank Parris Lilly for joining us. For an interview for this episode and being really gracious with his time, giving us an hour of his time. Appreciate that. Stephen Graham, thank you for everything you put in. Appreciate it. And we're just getting started. We got a lot to do here in the next week with E3. We're excited to bring E3 coverage to you, everybody. And we'll be starting that Saturday with Electronic Arts. Check out Facebook for the full schedule of E3 coverage. And again, that's the Gaming Hub forums on Facebook. For Graham and Steve, I'm Tyler saying thank you so much for joining us for episode 100. Here's to 100 more. We'll be back Saturday live
here's to
with
100
coverage for E3. Until everybody in the day in between, have fun, stay safe, play some great games. We will talk to you this weekend for E3.
I would like to thank everyone as well, and you too, Tyler. Thank you very much for including me and coming up with this great idea.
Yeah, it's been fun. I do it. It's a passion for me. I love it. And let's keep doing it. Let's do 100 more. Let's do 500 more. 1,000 more.
Let's do it.
All right.
10,000 more.
10,000. We'll live forever. All right.
All right,
everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you this weekend for E3. Please come join us. And let's have a great time this weekend.
Happy E3.
Saturday.
Guys.